Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, as it is very much so today, Fat Man Zoom. But we are here to help you guys own it. So, Fat Man Zoom, why don't we go ahead and hit them off with the starting five?
Starting five, we have Tiger's Edge, Savvy Money Show, Justin Harris, Mysterious Gal, and Carthigan. You are our starting five. And what Brad didn't mention is we made it our mission for you to own that chaos. And maybe today we'll find out how we plan to own this shit show of a day. Although I feel like it was coming back a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
I made a couple moves, not too many. Tried to stay away a little bit from the market, but we'll get into all that stuff. You guys haven't been here before. We are live every Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time to really discuss what's happening in the market during that day and then anything that's on the horizon that we talk about. Really fun stuff. Make sure you guys like, subscribe if you like the stuff we're talking about and want to tune in future. Make sure you get that notification bell. And every week, Brad has a little goal. I shouldn't say a little goal. Every live stream, there's a goal for likes. What is that goal today, Brad?
Today it is still 150, so we have gotten like super close each and every stream. But well, I should say each and every stream. The last two streams, we started this goal on Sunday.
Yeah.
So Sunday we got to like 148, 149, and we just barely squeaked it out yesterday. I want to crush that number. So let's get to 150 today, folks. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up as you're coming in, we certainly would appreciate it. And yeah, it has been a shit show of a day today for sure.
Yeah, so guys, we got to bring this thumbnail pose off back. So you want to know what's going on today? I'm about to tell you in the thumbnail pose off camera. Let's start with camera 3. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
All right.
Camera 3 is, that's me.
Yes.
Can Ethereum overtake Bitcoin? Ethereum is king, people. And I'm going to tell you why.
Microphone was in your face. I'm going to try it again. There you go. There we go.
Can it overtake?
It's a good question.
Camera 2. Sorry, camera 2. Why Brad thinks Apple will outperform the market? I kind of made that. I don't know if you actually did say that. Yeah, turn it to the side. A little bit lower. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's good. All right. This stays on your camera.
Oh.
Earnings reaction. Walmart, Home Depot. So they had earnings this morning. Yeah, was it? What is it?
Home Depot's down 4.5%.
Yeah, Home Depot got hammered.
Oh, got hammered.
All right, camera 1. Woo! How do I phrase this? So this one's about the market correction.
Yeah.
When will this market correction happen? Prepare for the market correction. That's what we're talking about today, amongst other things. So, guys, let us know what you think, what you're excited about. And here's how it works. I haven't really done a good job of articulating it to those in the chat, but we get a bunch of comments and we try to stay on task. So we tend to lean towards bringing up your comments that have to do with the topic at hand. So as we go through those topics, make sure you guys let us know questions, comments, thoughts regarding that specific topic. It will increase the likelihood that you'll actually get a shout out on the channel. And it just helps us stay on task.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of you guys, and we try to keep this as tight as possible. And then for those of you in the Chaos crew, the other way is at the end, if you want to ask a question, if you want your question to be brought up at the end, potentially, if I have time, I'm going to go into the Discord. So those of you in Discord, shoot me a question in the YouTube content channel. And I will look there before the stream's over, and maybe I'll pull a couple of questions out there. That's the greatest likelihood that you might get a shout out regarding the topic at hand or going into Discord, YouTube content. So hold me to that. Make sure I check the Discord before we close out.
You got it.
All right. So how was your day? Did you do anything today? Or
I did absolutely nothing today. I sat on my hands, just watched everything kind of transpire. Yesterday were the moves that I made. You guys heard me say that I ended up selling my SAM and my Wish to get into Apple. I did that. Haven't made any changes since. I'm actually really happy with the Apple trade still, and maybe looking for some opportunities to add to.
Jay Season said, you guys look like kids forced by their parents to pose for a picture. Probably.
Kind of feels that way sometimes.
What's up, Don? Snookeroo said, Brad, your watch list stock analysis was spot on, man. That's badass. Great.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, so if you guys want to get that for free, by the way, you can click the link down in the description at ownthechaos.com, and you can get a watch list every single day of the week. Kind of give our snapshot of what we think might be happening throughout the market that given day.
Yeah. So let's start with, let's just get the overall market out of the way. So you had an interesting statistic, and I'm just going to let you tell it. But as far as the market correction and as far as, I'm just going to shut up. You have a market correction statistic. Just give it to us.
Yeah. So the markets, the S&P 500 has not corrected more than 5% in nearly 200 days. I was not able to find how long it's been since we've seen a streak like that, but it's still pretty significant. And there's some people, I guess, and in fact, Fat Man Zoom, to add on to that, it's double what the average is. So usually on average, about every 100 days or so, we'll see a 5% correction in the market, particularly the S&P 500. We have not seen that. Today maybe is a spark that could create a little bit of a correction. We'll see. We're only down about 1%, maybe a little bit lower than that today. We saw the Dow actually go down around 400 or 500 points at one point this afternoon. So we'll see where that actually ends up shaking out. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I think it leads to a lot of questions. You know, is there a correction that's going to be happening? Are we experiencing that today? Is that the start of the correction? Should people not be buying the dip here? And so that's kind of where I wanted to lead the conversation. It's interesting because we look at a lot of people look towards the IWM, which is the Russell 2000 ETF. It's the equivalent to SPY as to S&P 500. And we look at the chart here, and it's actually been getting hammered quite a lot. I mean, from its highs around 234.50 back in March, really, it hasn't really outperformed or done well since. And so this is interesting. We're right now retesting the 200-day moving average. And so this is certainly could be classified as a correction, but we look at the SPY, for example, and we're not quite there yet. There is room for this to come down still. And so there's definitely a case in which you could say, you know what, every time we've seen a correction, it's come down and retested the 50-day. So what if that happens this time? And there's potential for the S&P 500 to maybe retest 433, or the SPY to retest 433, which would be around 300 for the S&P 500. And so this is interesting. And so how do we do this? How do we navigate through a potential correction that might be happening here? And what are your thoughts in general? Are we going to be experiencing a correction? Not necessarily getting you to just call out a prediction, but what would be your plan if indeed this is what was happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a law of averages guy, and it feels like the likelihood of a correction is likely. Yeah. And it wouldn't be surprising. However, I also know that it's a fool's game to try to predict what the market's going to do. And, it's fun for us to make predictions on here, but I think that in anticipation of a run or a potential correction, rather than trying to time it just make sure I want to make sure that I have some cash on hand. And also in things that I trust that if they go down, I can buy more of, because if the overall market goes down, is most likely that my portfolio will go down at a greater rate than the market. So I want to be prepared, and I want to view that as an opportunity. Today was a hella red day. Now, I know some Chaos Group people that said they bought some dip on some things. It could be another red day tomorrow. It could be a red, September, all those things. But to me, there's been a lot of choppiness throughout the year, and just rather than trying to figure out when the days come or freak out about when the day's going to come, just make sure that you look at your portfolio and make sure that your portfolio is well diversified. I talked about this. I felt like I was a little too heavy spec. I paid for it. It was a gut punch. And I was also in things that I wasn't confident in averaging down on. I was more doing a flyer. So I went away from my strategy a little bit last week, and I just needed to tighten it up. So I'm glad I did before today, but, trying to time the market is just a really dangerous game. And obviously you want to use technicals to get a good entry and to round out your strategy. But if you paint that as gospel, you're stuck in confirmation bias, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. So those are all things to consider as far as the portfolio is concerned.
Yeah, I agree. Don was adding here. I think he ended up grabbing the streak. He said it's been over a decade. He thinks. I think he might be right on that. As far as I think it's 2010 was the last time we saw a streak like this, and there was a pretty sharp correction. And if this plays out the same way it did in 2010, then to your point, this would be the worst time to sell. And what usually ends up happening, especially to the retail investor, they get a little panicky. They sell into something like this, and then they end up buying higher than what they sold it for. And so it's just it destroys any kind of wealth building opportunities. And so you either just do nothing, or find areas of opportunity to add to. I think selling here, in my opinion, in our experience, has really been the worst possible time to do so is when everything's red. Yeah.
So we have a video on the Perfect Portfolio. Make sure you guys check that out. It's sort of like, what does a well-balanced portfolio look like? What does the exposure need to be in? And then you level 3 folks, you see every Wednesday, I pretty much go through analyzing my portfolio and making sure my position ratio is on point, the amount of positions I have, because it's constant. You have to continue to revisit your portfolio.
Yeah.
All interesting stuff. Guys, let us know what your strategy is, what you think is going to happen as far as the market, and how you're preparing yourself either way, because if it does run, you still want to be a part of that. We see stocks at all-time highs, so should be interesting. 2 stocks that had pretty much opposite earnings this morning, Walmart and Home Depot. They both had earnings. They're both monsters in our opinion. We like the stocks in general. You had Walmart on your stock watch list for Sunday for the 5 stocks you're watching. Walmart had really good earnings by all accounts. Home Depot did not have as good of earnings. And let me just real quick run through those numbers. So here's a snapshot. Walmart earnings per share estimates were $1.57. They beat $1.78. Revenue estimates were $137 billion, came in $141 billion. They also tightened up their forecast, increased their forecast a little bit on the year for earnings per share between $6.20 and $6.35, and same store sales increasing by about 5 to 6%. All in all, a pretty solid earnings. I was happy with that, and I thought it performed really well. Now, on the other side of that coin is Home Depot, which did not have a great earnings. They did beat on earnings per share. They did beat on revenue, but they withdrew their forecast. And the headline or the narrative was really surrounded by this idea of the slowing down of the DIY.
Yeah.
And so those earnings happened this morning. What was the response? And I know you mentioned that Home Depot was down almost 5%, but how do you feel about these earnings in relation to the stock and your sentiment on the stocks in general?
Yeah, so I still like Home Depot, but the thing of it is that it's tripled in the last year. Mm-hmm. So there was I don't think anybody should be surprised that this is slowing down a little bit. The expectations, I think, were just way too high from analysts in particular. So, with Home Depot kind of pulling some of their guidance as far as the DIY is concerned, it's just not really all that shocking. Now, I do think that there's potential opportunities here for Home Depot if it does come back down and maybe hold this support around 315. Maybe that could be a spot to consider looking at as a potential area for either a starter or adding to your position. But then if it doesn't hold that, then there could be some more movement to the downside of around 297, 298. So I think Home Depot is going to be just fine. But I do think the expectation that this was just going to continue to be explosive was just unrealistic, especially given how much this stock has just run up and just been an absolute monster. We saw this just 2 quarters ago go from 246 up to 345 in one solid quarter, and then it came out. Then we saw the quarter after that got a little choppy, and then we're starting to see things kind of taper off a little bit with Home Depot and the DIY side of things. The other part of this is the supply issues when it comes to materials and then new homes. So that plays a factor into all of that. And I think Home Depot, while I do still remain bullish on it, it may move sideways here for about a quarter or two before it starts to pick back up again.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy the idea of the DIY slowing down.
Yeah.
Maybe Well, I think Home Depot as a whole, I don't really buy it slowing down. I think they're going to continue to do well.
Yeah.
Their sales were up a little bit more. They talked about inflation as well and price increase, and that was maybe padding the numbers a little bit. But I don't see Home Depot slowing down. Now, I agree with you, the reaction and how far it's run. Maybe there's an opportunity for a correction. But great long-term stock. I feel really good about this.
Yeah.
And I think Walmart's setting up to what you talked about on Stock Watch Sunday, just catching up. And the story isn't over for Walmart as far as that's concerned.
Absolutely not. And I mean, with Home Depot and Lowe's and really all of those, the home building side of things, they have the pricing power. The demand's still there, so they have the ability to be able to raise prices if they need to make up for some of those earnings or the slowing growth. So I don't think there's really anything for them to worry about whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and just touch on this topic. You mentioned this right before the live stream.
Yeah.
It's Palantir bought $50 million worth of gold in August. And so Palantir has been a nice growth story, still lagging, but a stock that we're big fans of. It's made appearances on the watch list frequently. And they had a great earnings last quarter as well. So pretty exciting about that, a Kathy Wood special. Are you buying this idea of them using their extra cash on gold? There is a potential they will invest in crypto as well, so it's not off the table. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it is interesting. If you guys didn't catch the news, the company spent $50.7 million this month on gold. And Bloomberg stated it's part of an unusual investment strategy. It also includes startups, blank check companies, and possibly Bitcoin. And I was actually surprised that a company like Palantir didn't lean into Bitcoin a little bit more, because that's what we're actually seeing more of. So that was very shocking to me. The whole way they went about doing this is very unorthodox, and I'm just kind of surprised by it in general. I mean, gold hasn't really been doing all that great as far as performance is concerned, but I understand that they're trying to diversify and hedge themselves to protect themselves against any kind of inherent risk, whether it's geopolitical issues or what have you. Obviously during times of war or the aforementioned geopolitical issues, we could use the Taliban takeover as an example. You usually do start to see gold go up. That's just one factor that would cause gold to go up. And there's many others. But it's just kind of like felt like it was very random, and $50 million into gold just also seems like an awful lot of money to put into something like that. So I don't know if I'd be buying into it, but it is certainly interesting, and I don't know if it necessarily hurts or helps the company. Just kind of seems strange.
Yeah, and gold's down over 30% in the past year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. As a company that's newly public, I don't understand the move. I'm not opposed to doing gold over Bitcoin. I think that for a company that doesn't have a large cash pile or has a growing cash pile, you're not going to have as great of a swings with gold. Now, your upside's going to be higher with Bitcoin, most likely. Like your potential upside is definitely going to be higher with Bitcoin. But I could understand if they didn't do it because it's not as volatile, it's not as speculative. Well, regardless of what you think about if gold's going to still be around, if the gold standard's still going to exist,
right,
or Bitcoin, just looking from a short-term perspective, I don't understand why out of all the things you can do with the free capital, this is sort of a head scratcher to me.
Yeah.
Because you're tying up the capital as a newly public company, and why not spend it on an acquisition or, I mean, I don't want to say a dividend because I don't think that's necessarily the best move, but even a buyback. Your stock is so cheap right now or undervalued, some would say.
Yeah.
Buy it back. Buy back the stock. Have something that has immediate impact. It seems like just such a random, out of nowhere move. I don't really understand it. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't change any of my sentiments towards the company. Just a head scratcher.
Yeah, Palantir's COO is going on to quote to say you have to be prepared for a future with more black swan events. And I get that, I guess. But I'm with you. Like, can you imagine what $50 million worth of buybacks would do for the stock and how people would be excited about that and like giving back to investors rather than just buying up some gold bars? That just seems kind of random to me. But who knows? Maybe they know more than we do. It's above our pay grade, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. And let me get an update on how many people we got in the house.
We got 142 of you guys hanging in here, so we certainly appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your afternoon. So we have 45 likes. We're trying to get to 150 by the end of the stream. We're just getting started, though, so that we're still early within the stream. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it to try to get to our goal of 150 this week.
Lindsay Heiss, boa tarde. Bom dia, Lindsay. You just say whatever Brazilian phrase you packaged. Como vai? Go ahead and say como vai.
Como vai?
Yeah, but
Como
say
vai?
it with like your Brazilian.
Isn't Brazilian's like Portuguese, right?
Yeah. I want it with the Brazilian like gusto. Como vai, Lindsay?
Como vai, Lindsay?
There you go.
It kind of sounds like it's Italian, but
yeah, I mean they're Romance languages. So
Yeah.
It sounds a little like it.
I got it.
All right, gold. Let's transition over to what Don says so aptly is gold 2.0.
Yeah.
Crypto, Bitcoin specifically, but we're going to talk about crypto. According to Coinbase, so Q2 was the first quarter that Ethereum volume exceeded Bitcoin volume, which surprised me. And this is just on Coinbase platform. So let's just keep this level set expectations. But just speaking about Coinbase, Ethereum volume passed crypto volume, and a couple questions come to mind. And you guys make sure you stick around to the end because I do want to ask Brad about price targets for Ethereum and Bitcoin end of the year. But this like kind of blew me away a little bit. Is this a sign of things to come? And will Ethereum overtake Bitcoin as sort of the poll lead for crypto?
I think in market cap, it's possible. Ethereum has a long way to go, though, because Bitcoin's at what, over $1 trillion now, right? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a long way to go.
They might be below. Sorry, with the adjustment, they might be low. I don't know exactly, but I can pull it up.
It's got a long ways to go, regardless. Yeah. And so I think that it's interesting, especially because Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin over the last 18 months by percentage. So there is a case to be made that, as far as preference to owning Ethereum over Bitcoin, you also can make the arguments as far as use cases are concerned, and that more people are using a Bitcoin as a store of value, whereas Ethereum could be used as more of a currency, an actual currency, and there's just a lot more use cases for it. So then that inherently adds more value to it. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's certainly a stronger bull case for Ethereum, and it makes sense as to why you're starting to see more volume roll into that than Bitcoin. Obviously, I think they're both doing really well. Bitcoin is still holding up above that 200-day moving average, which I am really encouraged by. You guys can see this represented by the blue line here. That's a 200-day moving average, and it's actually a pretty pivotal indicator for Bitcoin, we've seen how it reacts around that. So if it holds above there, I think we're still in good shape. But yeah, man, there's definitely a case to be made that you would want to own Ethereum over Bitcoin, at least at this stage in the game.
So here are the market cap numbers. Bitcoin sits at $850 billion in market cap. Let's just say $855 billion in market cap.
Yeah.
And Ethereum is actually at $366 billion. So Bitcoin's a little bit more than double.
Yeah.
But not that far off.
Yeah.
Right? You talk about, could Ethereum get to 8,000? Sure. Ethereum gets to 10,000. You know, maybe they give a run for its money. So I would say it wouldn't surprise me if Ethereum overtakes Bitcoin.
Yeah.
What Bitcoin has in their advantage is sort of the scarcity model. And I think what would have to happen for Ethereum to overtake it would be a couple things. One, institutional buying would have to increase for Ethereum over Bitcoin. I think that gets it to be the win. And then the other thing is the increased use cases. And that's where Ethereum does have it in their favor, is just use cases. But you got to also consider, as somebody mentioned here, Chris Edwards says, Cardano is now third. I have Cardano as fourth as far as market cap, but it's close. Binance Coin I have as third, but they're neck and neck. Another altcoin could overtake both of them. Like that's, you know, it could happen, excuse me, it could happen quickly. However, where the attention goes will be interesting. And I don't know which one will happen, but I personally love Ethereum. I like it better. And we've talked about how it has greater volatility than Bitcoin, at least over the past year and a half. What would be, this is just for fun, price targets, Bitcoin at the end of the year?
100K.
Bitcoin at the end of the year, 100K?
Yep.
What are you smoking? You ate some crackpot pie?
You can make fun of me. Okay.
Cut that clip.
You cut that clip, MFer, because I said 50K this year in December, and damned if it didn't do that. So,
with December for next...
December 2020, I said bold prediction was 50K. So...
Yeah, and I agreed with you. And now I'm saying you're smoking crack.
Okay, whatever. What do you got?
4 months?
Yeah.
It can do that.
It can do that, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility.
I'd be happy with 60, but I'm going to say 55.
Okay.
K for Bitcoin, and then what about Ethereum?
Ooh, Ethereum. If I'm correct in 100K, then Ethereum I would have to say at least 7,500.
Yeah, that's in line. That's fair. But I do think you're smoking crack for that as well. But if Bitcoin hits 100K, absolutely, that's within range.
Yeah.
I would say, oh man, it'll break 5. It'll break 5.
Yeah.
My hope is that it breaks 5 by the end of the year, and I'll be a happy camper.
That's actually more reasonable.
I think it's a safer bet.
Yeah.
It's a safer bet. But we're having fun. Guys, let us know what your predictions are for Ethereum, Bitcoin by the end of the year. I know a lot of you guys are smoking crack out there in YouTube land, so I'm sure we're going to get some nonsense numbers. But we'll see. And maybe somebody for the first time in the history of altcoin conversation or crypto conversation, maybe somebody says something lower than existing, but I don't know if you guys have it in your blood to do that.
Yeah. Are there any cryptocurrency bears out there?
Well, there are just haters, and those are the gold people.
That's true.
But people who like crypto were like, maybe just by the end of the year it goes down.
Yeah.
We'll see, guys. We'll continue to monitor, see what happens. But this bodes well. This volume conversation, we'll see what happens. And just real quick, last thing is the last 24 hours of volume, Ethereum 24 million, Bitcoin at 32 million, and this is according to CoinMarketCap. So we'll see what happens. But guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll stay on that topic.
Don Fran said 90 to 100K for Bitcoin and 6K for Ethereum.
Okay.
So interesting. Lots of price predictions. I like the 69K for Bitcoin. I'm digging that.
And 6,900 for Ethereum. We're going to pause here because market's about to close in a second.
Yeah.
So I just want to check in if you want to give an update on the market.
Yeah, the market overall right now, let's take a look here. Obviously hasn't been a great day. Lots of factors here. There's actually talk of potentially the Fed tapering starting in September, or at least announcing it in September, and moving up their schedule a little bit for the taper on that. but the market actually did come back a little bit. The Dow Jones was down as low as around 500 points. It now closed, or is about to close at 291, so down 0.8%, as it was down almost close to 1.5, 1.25. S&P is down 0.72, only 32 points. NASDAQ down 140 points. So honestly, even though it got to be pretty ugly earlier in the day, and we're closing the day red, it's not that bad. It just feels like it is.
Funny enough, lots was green today, 4.5%.
Yeah, it was.
The community buy. That was crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any earnings at all?
We got some, but I don't know if it's really anything that anybody would be all that interested in. I can pull those up real quick.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
Oh, yeah, Krispy Kreme. My favorite ticker, D-Nut, has earnings today. We can pull that up. I was watching that today.
And I don't think we need to be a sharp eye on it. We can talk about our last topic, and then we can come back on that to close out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump right in. And this has been a continual conversation, but year to date, Alphabet up 56%.
That's crazy.
Microsoft and Facebook up 31%. Apple up 13%. Amazon down 5%, down 0.5%, and Netflix down 4%. I just listed the FANG stocks. And so considering all of this, you look at really the ones that you expect to see at the top, Apple, Amazon, and they're actually lagging, and they're lagging the overall market, something that you've brought up and brought to my attention. What does this mean to you? And I know you've gotten Apple, but what is your trade strategy as far as Apple's concerned moving forward?
Yeah, so I've seen some people in our live stream chat here just mentioning, or I guess scratching their heads if we thought that there was potential for some sort of correction in the market, why I'm buying Apple at near all-time highs. And it's because of that, because we're seeing a severe lag with all the other FANGs. So some have argued, well, it was because Apple had moved 80% last year, but a lot of the other things had monster moves too. We saw Amazon more than double from last year, and Facebook had monster moves as well. That doubled. So there was just a lot of other things that moved, and for some reason, Apple and Amazon are still lagging this market. Now, obviously, we saw Amazon not have great earnings this past quarter, but that's to be expected. You can't expect explosive growth every single quarter of the year. It's just not sustainable. So that's not really so much of a shock to me. I do still think that Amazon could be a $4,000 stock. And should be, honestly.
Yeah.
And looking at Apple too, there's certainly some catalysts that are coming up for Apple. And if our theories are true about a potential correction or at least a rotation, we're going to see some money come out of the more speculative plays and go into the sure things, go into the stronger companies, the larger cap stocks. And Apple is one of them. And so I think that we could see Apple catch up, maybe not necessarily outperform the S&P this year, but at least get pretty damn close. And it's working its way there. And so that's why I decided to take a position on Apple. Not only that, but we take a look at the chart, and it actually looks pretty good for a solid breakout. So I bought this at 147 in anticipation of a breakout here, and sure enough, it did. Actually, today it hit all-time highs yet again at 151.68. Is pulling back here a little bit here today. After hitting those all-time highs. But I think that there's a lot of reasons to believe that Apple can continue to move up here.
And what would your prediction be as far as Apple in comparison to the market for the end of the year? Do you think Apple will outperform the market at the end of the year?
I think it's certainly possible, especially if we get solid numbers from the iPhone 13. We also have, the holiday season that we're working into, which always bodes well for Apple. So there's certainly a possibility. But I would say that the realistic approach is that it could come in line with the S&P 500 by the end of the year, which I still feel bullish on. So I think that the case could be made that Apple sees 20 to 25% gains by the end of the year. And that would mean that we're looking at maybe around 170, 175 for Apple.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, certainly. And it's been on the watch list. It'll continue to be on the watch list. If you guys want access to our free daily watch list, go to ownthechaos.com, click get a free watch list. Or even easier is go in the description. There's a link in the description to get that free watch list. While you're going over that description, just go ahead and click that like. Because I don't know if we're going to hit 150. I'm going to be honest with you people.
It's not looking great. It's not looking great. We don't even have 150 people watching.
Shout out to Sean. Got that. It's a Red Bull, Sean. It's a Red Bull, my friend.
Yeah.
But still pushing people to hit that like button. I mean, we'll just get to the day where it's just consistently Chaos Crew giving reasons to hit the like button. We don't have to say a thing.
I love it.
Maybe one day we don't say one and we just count on the Chaos Crew to just do the call to actions for us. Somebody did mention Clove. I did add to Clove today. I'm basically just adding at $8 all day.
I think it's a solid strategy on it. I like it. Just continues to hold $8, and it seems like it's just a very clear bottom for it.
Yeah, until tomorrow when it goes down to $6.12.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes. D-Nut looks like the numbers are out potentially. It's up 3% here after hours. I saw it spike up to as much as 5.5. Closed the day at 14.04. Now sitting at 14.45. We get those numbers out. I tell you what, man, the food stocks, McDonald's, Chipotle, Wingstop, Bloomin' Brands, and it looks like even D-Nut now, crushing it this year. Absolutely crushing it this year.
I'm getting more and more disappointed in Twitter not giving the numbers correctly. But here we go. Looks like they slightly missed, depending on estimates, because consensus can fluctuate, missed or met. So earnings per share estimates, 13 or 14 cents a share. It came in at 13 cents a share.
Okay.
Revenue, I do not have... Or it looks like estimates were 333 million. It came in at 349. So they beat on revenue, and apparently they're giving like a slight dividend, which is like almost nothing. It's like 0.003. Sorry, 3.5 cents a share. That's what it is. Sorry, I thought it was like less than a penny. So 3.5 cents a share, $14. What is that? Hold on. Let's do some quick math, people. So the stock price is what, $14 right now?
Yeah.
0.035 divided by 14. Oof. Not even. That's what would that be? 0.0025 is
0.2%.
0.2%. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not exactly all that exciting.
Let me rephrase that. So you do that by 4, so it's 1%.
Yeah, well, it's better than Spirit Air Systems, which is
1% yield,
1 penny dividend.
So 1% yield, that isn't terrible. Not enough to care about the stock.
Yeah,
but we'll see if that makes a difference. What did you say it was looking like? It's up.
It was up like 5.5% when we were talking about the Apple trade, but now it's up around 2.14%. So nothing really all that crazy, but
it is looking like there's some good stuff. Long-term organic revenue growth, 9 to 11%. It looks like their forecast came in higher than on the higher range of what analysts had expected. So all that stuff looks pretty good, and what a great, delicious product.
Yes. The only way that I eat Krispy Kreme, I don't know about you.
Hot and fresh?
Yeah, like it's got to be warm.
Yeah.
Got to be right out the oven.
Or is it hot and ready? Is that what it is? What's the neon sign? Hot and ready.
I think it's hot and ready, yeah.
I mean, that's like, what a great concept. Yeah. What a great marketing
Don't give me the gas station ones that have been, sitting in there for a couple hours. No, I want the fresh one. And it's got to be the glazed. I do like the Boston creams every now and then.
Bullshit. Don't buy. If you walk into Krispy Kreme, there's only one thing to buy. You buy the glaze, and that's it.
I got a thing for Boston creams. But yeah, the glaze is
Boston creams, they would make me feel uncomfortable to eat. Like that it just makes me feel uncomfortable.
Why?
Do I have to explain?
I mean, I don't give a shit. If you want to make it sexual, that is fine. I will eat out that Boston cream donut. I do not give
something about a cream explosion in my mouth that I will pass on.
Give it to me. I do not.
I can only imagine you with a big ass Boston cream, just
right out the side,
all over your
right
beard.
down. Yep, right down the side, and I do not care.
Hot now. That's what it is.
Hot now.
Hot now. Hot now.
Don Frown knows what I'm talking about. He's in the Boston cream.
You guys can
crowd.
freaking rub that Boston cream all over your bodies. Little fanboys. I will have my glazed. I'll be clean. I'll be proper. I'll walk out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Makes me.
Pretend like you don't lick your fingers after having a glazed donut.
I do. I do.
So that could be just as sexual.
No.
Did you just make the motion?
Yeah.
Yeah. See. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But Boston cream.
What?
I'm just messing.
First of all, you have to eat it properly. You're not going to make a mess if you eat whole first. You got to eat whole first.
Stop it! You're making it too easy.
Like you thought that I didn't do that on purpose.
I bet as you're eating it, you stick your little tongue through that hole, right? When you
Sometimes,
you
got to get a little taste.
Nasty.
You got to get a little taste first.
You're nasty, guys. All you that eat Boston cream, there's something wrong with you. It's just, I don't want any sort of cream anything busted in my mouth. I'm sorry.
No.
Just took a left turn.
There's no busting going on.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What's happening? With my
Jesus Christ!
My Boston cream.
This show took a big old left turn.
I bet you Don's sitting in his studio, just shirtless, eating a Boston cream. Boston cream just falling down.
Yes.
Oh man. Anyways, good stuff, guys. On that note, I think it's time to wrap up.
This show really unraveled quickly.
Send them home.
Guys, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will be going over some of the earnings as well as whatever pops up in the market. And we'll have a couple of other good topics to discuss with you guys as well. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and most importantly, hit that thumbs up. We are not even going to get close to 150 today, but that's all right. We know it's a down day, so some people just would rather not listen to us talk about the stock market because it's the last thing they want to think about.
Yeah, tomorrow the big earnings is NVIDIA. We definitely will be keeping an eye on that.
NVIDIA and Cisco, I believe, are after hours.
Yeah.
So two big ones.
Yeah, so make sure you guys tune in for that. I could care less. Couldn't care less about Cisco. But NVIDIA, that's the Fat Man Zoom special. So we'll see how that runs. A lot of conversation around that. We'll see you guys then.
That's going to do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.